From the Wayne County Courthouse in Goldsboro, North Carolina, Wayne Goldsboro Television brings you the meeting of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. The meeting begins shortly with an agenda briefing, then the regular meeting will begin soon after. Please stand by for the Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting.
Morning, folks. Okay, this morning, Mr. Bell, you got the invocation?
Yes, Sheriff Pierce is going to do the invocation.
Okay.
Don't forget though, before the
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have realized it when Alec came in the door. Yeah, we'll be doing that at 8:30, the tax bill. And I'm sure you'll be coming in at that time to talk to us. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And Mr. Gurley, you have the pledge.
Okay.
Then we're into the minutes. And I know we've got some additions to the agenda, so I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, I've got 4.
Wow. That's why Carol said we might have to go to lunch after.
Yeah, she's been handing them out to you. Let's see, the first one we've got is a motion to award a contract to the lowest responsible bidder, TA Loving Company, in the amount of $1,915,000 for the sewer improvements at Grantham Middle and Elementary School. And you should have it looks like this from Municipal Engineering. Everybody got that copy? Well, the good news about this is that's about $458,000 less than what we budgeted in bond proceeds. So we'll be able to move any savings over to another, one of those bond projects. And specifically what we'll probably be moving it over to is the Maxwell Center. So it works out very well. But those are great bids. We've got 4 bids, as you see. Mike McAllister is here if anybody has any questions on those. If not, if you'll go ahead and award it today, we're ready to go and proceed on with that construction.
Do we need to put that under unfinished business or new business?
I would put that under unfinished business.
Okay. I guess that comes before new business.
that'll come right after appointment committee and before consent.
Okay.
The next one is a motion to authorize the county manager to execute an architectural agreement with Stuart Cooper Newell for the master plan and full design services for the public safety training facility to be located at Wayne Community College. You have a packet of information that starts with the memo. Got a memorandum or an email from Dr. Walker. This is just confirming that they agree in principle to moving forward on providing the training facility at their campus. And then right behind that is the proposed agreement. Basically what we're agreeing to is 8.25% design fee, which includes full design plans, specifications, bidding documents, contract, and also construction, administration, and inspection. This is the same rate that we got for doing the 911 building. Now, in addition to that, the master plan is $37,000. Some portion of the master plan we will get back as a credit towards the actual design fee as well. So we think this is a very appropriate contract, and would like to go ahead and get this done today if possible. And that way we save another couple of weeks on that. So that's the second thing.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Have we gotten any estimates on the overall project cost of this?
Not yet. We've got, he's given us ballpark figures on some of the components, but we haven't thoroughly nailed down all the components yet. We're close. I would say one more meeting and we'll have that.
Well, wouldn't you think it would kind of be prudent that we would know what the overall cost would be before we hire an architect to?
Well, we really won't know that until, what I was planning on doing is finishing up with this committee and let them make a recommendation to you, but then we would send it to our facilities committee, and ultimately, it's going to cost what y'all determine the components you want in it. But they're going to make a recommendation to you on what components they want.
Well, maybe I've just been out of the loop on this, but so I would know where we're at. Is there another committee that is in fact deciding what components they're going to recommend to the board?
That's the committee I'm talking about. There's a 7-person committee that we appointed. We have Craig Honeycutt and Mel Powers from the county. We have Sheriff Pierce for law enforcement portion. We have Beverly Deans, who's the dean out at the college, who's over all of the law enforcement, EMS, and fire training. So it's those 4, and then there are 3 representatives from the fire chiefs on that committee. So that's the 7 people making up that committee.
Can I speak?
Sure, go ahead.
Basically, what they're doing, they're looking at what basically a complete training facility that we would need in the future, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all going to be built at one time. They're going to look at it, make recommendations, and really they really can't make recommendations on what they would like to propose to us until they do have that next meeting when they have some figures to work with.
And y'all visited several facilities, didn't you?
We visited 5. And in all those cases, that's pretty much what they did, is they developed a master plan, because you've got to decide what components and then how you're going to lay it out. And then, as Wayne said, then you decide what you're going to build, and then how you're going to do it is going to be part of the recommendation to you, because there's 2 ways to do it. One is all at once. The other is take some money every year, every couple of years, and put in another component. But you've got to have the master plan so you know where it's going, because it's kind of like a mini campus, if you will, with different components.
My concern here is that we're getting the end users to define what components they want into an overall master plan, and then the so-called monkey is going to be on this board of saying yes or no. I mean, it's really going to put us in a kind of an awkward position here of saying, oh, no, we can't do that, we can't do this. Then all of a sudden we got a lot of pushback. Is there a commissioner on that meeting, on that group?
I attend
Wayne's been
meetings.
attending.
I don't attend all of them. I attend some of the meetings, but I'm not actually on the committee.
Well, I just think it might be prudent that we have somebody that kind of hold down the wish list, so to speak.
So, Mr. Chairman, how about towards the end of the development of the scope, you have a joint meeting of facilities committee with that committee you're talking about to kind of hash out the needs?
Yeah, you can do that. That means y'all need to come to the next meeting, because they're closed.
They're close, huh?
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Do they already have some basic things that they know that they want?
Yeah.
It might
Yeah.
be good to give that to them so they know what the basic things are.
Well, and the 5 facilities that they visited, I didn't visit all of them, but I did visit 3 of them. I mean, some of them, they're out of question. I mean, that's just, you know, we can't even consider something like that. But there was a couple of them, and the one that really impressed us the most was the smallest one, and that was the Sandhills College, Community College. And so we basically, the ones that's big money, they've already been eliminated.
Well, that's good to hear.
They've already been eliminated.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Question, the one at Sand Hills, was there any information discussed on what their cost was on theirs, if we like that one?
Yeah, but it's been, as soon as we talked to the architect about that, he said, but those aren't today's prices. And so it's gone up. fairly substantially. So I really don't want to quote you a price today because it's not going to be right. You know, we haven't gotten the architect to sit down and give us the dollar figures yet, so I'm not going to sit here and throw a number out
I got you.
without him saying that's the number.
Okay.
Okay, and that would be under unfinished business. And then the last one is you have the letter from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. That's this letter right here. This is the CDBG DR award letter in the amount of $16,940,000. So this is the letter from them offering to give you that award. That is 2 of the 3 years. If you remember, the amount was $25 million, and this represents roughly 2 of the 3 years. And then they'll come back the 3rd year and make adjustments in it. And so that's why you arrive at the 16 million figure instead of the 25 million figure. So my recommendation is that you authorize the chairman. It says the chief elected official has to sign it. So this would be a motion to authorize the chairman to accept the CDBG DR award in the amount of $16,940,000. And I've had Chip review the numbers. He said it is in keeping with what we had submitted. So I think everything's in order to go ahead with this. And again, we didn't want to lose 2 more weeks on this. Now, the next thing you'll see from them is they will come back with a formal MOU for us to execute on this, and that'll be the detailed agreement.
Any questions on that? Okay.
And then the last thing is Carol's got a catch a glimpse video from Public Affairs, and we do that under new business. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So those are the 4 additions that we have. So 3 under unfinished business, 1 under new business.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Getting back to unfinished on the Granton Soil project, anyone that doesn't object, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, great. And Mr. Aycock, on the public safety, would you be interested in doing that since you're
Yes, sir.
on the college board on it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, any other changes on the agenda? Then we'll have a special recognition for Sadie Sanders, her 100th birthday. You know if she's coming or not, Carol?
No, I don't believe so, but Paula Edwards
Okay.
will be here. So if we just read the letter so that
We'll let
it's,
Paula read it.
that'll be fine. If she doesn't, I'll be glad to.
Okay, either one.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I forgot to mention, we had also handed out this map. I just wanted to point out to you, the area we're looking at, we haven't decided on it, but the area that we're looking at right now is, if you hold the map like this, the area we're looking at is here. This is their loop road, which I call the back road to the college, but it would be this area right about in here. It's not that whole wooded area, but right about in here and over. And when we measured that, I believe Mel measured it was roughly 22 acres. So
Is that kind of swampy back in there, or?
we think it's all right.
Okay. And there's a creek that runs back behind there.
Yeah, that's the creek back there, the blue. That's the creek.
Okay, just asking that question, because I know the manhole covers are built up about 6 foot or so back there.
Yeah, along the creek, they
just
would be.
observation.
There is some drop off along there.
Okay.
So if I'm looking at this map, it says the county of Wayne owns the stream going through there. That's what it looks like.
Mhm.
I guess when that land was purchased, the county had to buy it for the
Part of
college.
a Greenway project.
Yeah.
Part of a Greenway project that the county and city applied for
Did,
grant money.
John? That's why the other side of it is City of Goldsboro. Okay. All right.
Okay, after that, public comments. And you don't have a report committee.
We did not meet, but I got a comment, please.
Okay. On the consent agenda, how the exclusions look board accepted, and they all okay? Mr. Lumpkin's nodding yes, everything looks good on that. So, and the president's failing, I'm sure that's
All of those are in order.
okay. Very good. Ms. Spate, you got some budget amendments you want to talk about?
Yes, sir. Your first budget amendment is for the Health Department. This is reducing the funding level for the Young Families Connect program. That program is being discontinued effective October 31st, so they are closing that out with the exception of the few remaining items that will need to be done towards the end of the program. For the Sheriff's Office, this is a budget amendment for their donations. There's a couple of things on this budget amendment. First of all, donations were budgeted, and we don't typically do that, so we're reversing that out. But then they have actually received some this year, so we're recording what they've actually received. For animal control, we're requesting to do a write-off of uncollectible accounts totaling $6631, and there is a breakdown of those accounts behind your budget amendment. These accounts have been pursued for collection, but they've not been successful. They will remain in debt set-off. You have two for the Sheriff's Office, number 98 and 109. These are to anticipate and appropriate a total of $6,513.55 for the controlled substance line items. Numbers 99 through 102 are all for the Sheriff's Office, and they all relate to the seized property program, and this is a total of $18,345.06 that they have collected from the federal forfeiture program. Then you have number 103 for the Health Department. They received a decrease in state funding for the maternal health program in the amount of $15,255. However, they have received some additional Medicaid revenues, so they're going to offset that decrease with the Medicaid revenues they anticipate to come in. For cooperative extension, they are creating a new line item in the amount of $4075.83. This was to track revenues and expenditures for Farm City Week, and they had typically tracked that sort of off the books in a separate account. They are bringing that in under the county's account, and so they're going to be tracking that through our items now. For the sewer, $5,250, we're requesting to allocate some repairs and maintenance on equipment for a sewer bar screen, and this is going to come out of the Goldsboro wastewater treatment plant line item. For the Maxwell Center, requesting to reallocate $9,623 from their contingency line item to part-time salaries. These funds will be used to hire a part-time intern to assist with the operations.
Question, Mr. Wood, on that part-time intern, is that a long-term intern? Or
No,
that
that's
work?
a short-term.
Okay. Okay.
For the Maxwell Center, a budget amendment for a total of $420,000. This is to increase the IT budget. This is being supported by savings on our 2017-2018 debt payment from the limited obligation bonds. And these savings are a result of projects coming in under estimated amounts and locking in a better interest rate on that issuance.
And Ryan Preble is here if y'all have any questions on that, as far as the details on that.
You guys any questions? So he can go back to work if we don't.
Pardon?
So he can get back to work if we ask questions now.
Yeah.
I guess we don't need to, right?
Well. I'm not quite understanding, it says capital outlay, but this is regarding the IT system?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Everything to get the building up and running is being budgeted for in that one line item. It's our accounting, the way we capitalize these assets. So that's why you're seeing it go into the capital outlay buildings line item.
As I recall somewhere, there was some question that we had in regards to, is this also the security?
No, this portion is not.
This portion is not the security.
Just IT.
There was some questions on security in regards to how elaborate that security system may or may not be, specifically the cost of it. But at any rate, since this is not security, then I will move on.
Well, Mr. Wood, didn't you tell us that the IT part was, they just gave us, that the architect gave us a ballpark figure?
Yeah, they gave us a ballpark figure, and it was just
And
low.
then once Ryan got involved with it,
Yeah.
determined it was...
That's low. The security is also low. Basically, what they had put in was for an alarm system, but we're putting in more than that. We're putting in security cameras and things like that, and that's what is fundamentally taking up the security part, but we'll get into that at a later date.
Okay.
I just think that's what you're...
Yeah, it is.
But if any of y'all have any questions, if you think of anything at a later date, you want to talk about the IT budget with Ryan, he's more than happy to talk with you about that.
Okay, moving on.
Okay. For the Maxwell Center, a budget amendment in the amount of $2,318,767. This is to budget for the USDA funding that we received through Tri-County. For the detention center, $103,238. This is for additional personnel for the misdemeanor facility. Since they are operating near full capacity, additional staff are needed to handle the operations, but they are offsetting this expenditure through the increased revenues of renting those beds out daily.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wood, now this, or Allison, this 103,238, would that get them through the end of the year?
Yes.
I mean,
That is budgeted for 8 months for those personnel,
okay,
yes, sir.
all right, okay.
Okay, and then the final one is for the county manager's office. This budget amendment is needed to move salaries and related fringes for the public affairs director to the county manager's budget, since that will be a shared position now. Any questions?
Any additional questions? If not, let's move on. And we got a resolution adopting the 16th Amendment in a position classification and pay plan.
Yeah, this is just to add the paralegal position. I think we've all agreed we needed it, we budgeted for it, but we had not added it to the pay plan. So we need to do that now because the attorney starts work next Monday. So, and we have advertised the position so that when he gets here, he and Borden will have the applications and they can start going through and hiring somebody. But technically, we didn't have the position in the pay plan yet.
You did say he starts the 9th, doesn't he? No. Yes, sir. I thought I remembered you telling me that. I've asked you about 3 times. I finally remembered, so that's good. Okay. Then the next one is establish a public hearing on November 7th. It's about rezoning an acre of land in the Brogdon Township.
Yes, sir. The planning department received a petition from Mr. Robert Perkins to rezone a .65 acre tract of land in the Brogdon Township. Ms. Carroll, could you pull that map up for me? That is from residential RA20 to residential 10. RA20 has a 20,000 square foot lot size requirement, and R10 has a 10,000 lot size requirement. It is located at the intersection of South US 13 Highway and Wall Drop Road. Subject site currently has 1 house and 1 mobile home on the property. The zoning change will allow for 2 additional lots to be subdivided, and it will allow the owner to add residential structures only, and that would be manufactured or site built. Property is bordered on all sides by residential uses, and it is within an urban transition area on the growth strategy map. The property is serviced by Southern Wayne High School, Brogdon Middle, and Brogdon Primary. It is in Southern Wayne Sanitary District, serviced by Marmac Fire Department, EMS Station 8. It is within the Goldsboro MPO for transportation planning. There's no water supply watershed present. There's no voluntary ag districts present, no wetlands, and it is within Board of Commissioners District 4. It is not within the AQ's area for Seymour Johnson, and but it is within their airspace controlled surface area. The planning.
It's not pulling up. I can go.
That's all right.
We got a copy.
They have it in their agenda.
books.
Yeah,
We got it.
the planning board reviewed this case at its September meeting and recommended that the request be approved. As part of your documentation in your agenda package, we have a review letter from Seymour Johnson stating its compliance with the 2011 AQs. There's no issues with that. It is compatible to rezone it. This property, and they have some additional little map there that you can see the location of that in relation to the noise zones. And then you have a map that shows an aerial image of it on this Waldrop Road and South US 13 Highway. What would be required is the board would need to hold, if it wanted to entertain this change, you need to hold a public hearing first. We would notify adjoining property owners, put an advertisement in the newspaper, then you'd hold a public hearing, and if you felt so desired, you could entertain a change at that time. Case number 2 for today is we also received a petition from Mr. Mike Thornton.
Can I go back
Yes,
to
sir.
the question something? Is Waldrop Road, is that a paved road?
No, sir. That is a unpaved public right-of-way.
An unpaved public right-of-way?
Yes. It is a public right-of-way. It was recorded as a public right-of-way years ago. It's 30 feet wide, but it's unimproved.
Is it my understanding that he wants to divide this property up for additional lots for sale?
He's got 2 lots. He'd be getting 4 lots out of it.
All right, so there'll be 4 lots that he wants to put up for sale. I take it for single family.
2 of the lots would have already have existing homes on them. There'd be 2 additional lots that would not have a structure on them.
And our subdivision ordinance currently does not require that the right-of-way be paved
No,
at
sir.
all? Is that
Not
right?
in this case.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that case?
I'm sorry.
That's all right. The second case is the planning department received a petition. Let me just go back and make an additional comment on that. If it was a piece of land that they were building a new street on, and they were dedicating new public right-of-way on, and developing lots along that new public right-of-way, we do require that street to be paved to NCDOT standards at the time it was built, yes.
But in this case, it was already
This is
existing.
all considered road frontage because it's an existing public right-of-way. He didn't create the public right-of-way. The lot was already there.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Back to the second request was from Mr. Mike Thornton to rezone a 19.76 acres in the Brogdon Township from light industry and residential agricultural 20 to residential agricultural 30. Light industry and RA 20 have a 20,000 square foot lot size requirement, and RA 30 has a 30,000 square foot lot size requirement. Property is located on US 117 alternate 1,400 feet south of this intersection with US 117. The subject site is currently vacant. It formerly was a sawmill. The Board of Commissioners rezoned it from residential probably 10 years ago, roughly, to light industry in order for a sawmill to be put there, and it has been in operation. That has been dismantled and all the structures removed. The property has been put up for sale, and they've been trying to sell it as a light industry property, but they're not getting anybody interested, so they'd like to redevelop it back to residential. So that's why they're proposing a RA 30. This is located within the 65 LDN noise contour for Seymour Johnson, so any new construction of homes in that area would have some construction standards in place that would reduce interior noise levels 25 decibels above and beyond what the state building code requires. So any new construction would have to entertain that for residential use. The maximum height restriction in this zone is also 35 feet above grade. The property is bordered on the north, south, and west by residential uses and by the railroad to the east. The property is identified within an urban transition area on the Wayne County Growth Strategy map. Page 2, you would see that it is within Southern Wayne High Schools District, Brogdon Middle, Brogdon Primary. It's serviced by Southern Wayne Sanitary District, Marmac Fire Department, and EMS Station 8. It is within the Goldsboro MPO area for transportation planning. It's not within the water supplied watershed area. There are no voluntary ag districts, no wetlands. It's in Board of Commissioners District 2. It is within an ACUS area for Seymour, and it is within their airspace control surface area. The Planning Board reviewed this case at its September meeting and made a recommendation that the zoning be approved. Additionally, in your agenda packages, you'll see a review comments from Seymour Johnson stating that it's compatible with all the protocols as long as they utilize the 25 decibel noise reduction in new construction requirements, which we have in place in our zoning. As long as those are met, the base has no objection to it. They have their map in the package. See multiple colors there. The property is outlined, and you can see its relationship to the noise contours for Seymour, as well as the overlay map. If want to, you can consider scheduling a public hearing, receive public comments. We would notify adjoining property owners. We notify the base commanders would be notified of both public hearings. That's the law. And we run the public notification in the newspaper twice. And then if you want to, you can consider rezoning it.
Questions?
Yes.
I got one too, so go ahead. You have one?
Did the planning department recommend them to increase the lots to 30,000 square feet versus 20,000?
Yes, sir.
And why would that be?
There was a density. We would to meet the density requirements for that area. Basically, one home per two. You're looking at one home per 30,000 square feet.
Because of the noise?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I just had a question for information. To reduce to 25 decibels that's required, is that normally in the insulation or the thickness of the wall? How's that done?
Good question. The first, there's two things in a house that transmit noise. The first two items are the door and the windows. So usually when you step up the windows to a thermal pane window or dual pane window, you automatically increase the noise reduction. It's not mandatory by state building code to use thermal pane windows. So when you go to that type of window, obviously you're moving to a higher sound transmission class rating. The same way with a door. There's different doors and different constructions of doors. Beyond that, you can get into areas. The 25 decibel is not very hard to meet. Usually, if you step up your windows and step the door up, you've met the requirements. But when you get into some of your heavier noise areas, you can use such things as additional insulation in the attic or ceiling. You can use additional thickness in the walls with additional insulation. It's not required to have a central air conditioner in our design manual. It pretty much makes it mandatory that you use a central heating and air unit so that you don't have a window air conditioner for transmission of sound.
Okay. Thank you.
Things like that.
Chip, since this was a light manufacturing sawmill, is there any issue with soil contamination or anything?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Just asking the question. Anybody else? All right.
Thank you.
Moving on to the property jointly owned with the City of Goldsboro.
Yeah, if you look at page 77, we have a memo from Noel Woods on that. These are properties we jointly own with the city because of foreclosures. The city declined the offer of $65,000 on the North Oak Forest Road property, and that's because it wasn't sufficient in compared to the tax value. They've since received an offer for $85,000. They've already run the 10-day upset bid process. So this is the highest bid they've gotten for it. On the second property, which is 1314 North Carolina Street, you'll see that it was 1314 and 1316. They've combined them because they were both substandard lots, so this makes them one standard size lot. They, again, have received an offer in the amount of $23.15, which you'll note is half the value. They have a provision, if you remember, in a local act that was passed that they can accept an offer for that. And so they've gone through that process. They've also completed the 10-day upset bid procedure. No one else has bid on it. So we're proposing that you agree to sell both of those. And of course, our proceeds would be 1/2 of the offer price.
Okay. All right, moving on to new business. First, we'll have Kevin Leonard, our NCACC Executive Director, and he's sitting back on the back bench there this morning. Glad you could make it.
Mr. Chairman, if I could suggest, we might want to, since Kevin's here and he's got a busy schedule, we might want to move him under special recognition.
Well, I thought about that. I was thinking about moving him up.
Who's busy?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Because he is special. Okay, then the second thing, a motion to approve Industry Appreciation Month proclamation. Is Tiffany coming over?
She's supposed to.
Okay, I thought
Yes,
so.
sir.
Then you have your video that you want to play from public affairs, right?
That's correct.
Okay. County manager comments, board of commissioner comments, closed session. We're going to need a closed session today?
We are. I thought we'd do it right after we have this.
Yeah,
thing.
okay. After we do our public hearing thing. Okay, we're running a little bit late on that, so we'll back up, and I'll ask Alan Leonard to come up. Tax bill by Harrison Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board, good morning. We have an appeal filed with our office recently, and we denied the appeal, so their next step will be to come before you for you to hear their appeal. This is very similar to the solar farm we had a few months ago in the fact that it's a statewide issue. It has to do with Harris Teeter, and there's Ryan LLC is representing them. It has to do with the valuation of their business personal property and how it is depreciated, how it's valued. And again, it's sort of a statewide issue. Mecklenburg County, my understanding, there was 38 stores in that county that they were appealed last year, and it still hadn't been heard from the Property Tax Commission yet. But they'll be the first ones to sort of the litmus test there to see what happens to that. But what it boils down to, in our business personal property, we require the taxpayer to list all their equipment, computers, stuff like that every January. We take the basic purchase price to cost and depreciate that per a state schedule, and that's why we've been doing it. That's why the statutes provide us to do that. All counties do that. Ryan LLC has presented an alternative method to doing that, and we don't agree with that method. The state does not agree with that method at all, but they do have the right to appeal their values and to take this to the state if they wish to, just to be heard. So we are recommending that you deny this appeal at our level in Wayne County, and it will be heard by the Property Tax Commission at a later date as a statewide issue, and at that time we will see what the outcome is. And I brought Ms. Rouse, Diane Rouse, with us. She's our business personal property administrator. And if you have any technical questions, she'll be glad to answer those for you.
Questions?
So this is the personal property, not the real property.
Yes, sir. It's business personal property.
They've come up with a new way in order to...
Yeah, they're basically, I mean, in a nutshell, they're trying to say that we should be using a secondary market value to begin with and then depreciate that versus just taking the original cost and, using our depreciation schedules. It's creative taxation.
How do they justify that? Or Or you don't?
That big report that
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, personal property is the thing that they have in the store that they sell?
Correct. No, it's not for sale. No, that would be the assets. This is like the shelving, the freezers, computers, anything they're depreciable assets that they depreciate on their income tax. It's all their equipment in the store that helps run the store. And they have to list it. Any business has to list it every January with us for taxation.
What other business uses the secondary market value?
None to my knowledge, sir.
Thank you.
How many stores is built and they put secondary equipment in it? Everything in there's new?
Pretty much so, yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we deny the appeal of personal property for Harris Teeter.
Before I do that, do we have to allow the opportunity for Harris Teeter to come up?
They've
given the opportunity.
I was going to ask to make sure there's nobody here representing Harris Teeter.
Well, I just wanted to be sure they had the opportunity, since they're not here. Then
Yeah, I knew all those faces there. I knew they wouldn't put
I
Harris
just
Teeter.
felt like we needed to do that.
I did speak with the gentleman representing them, and he indicated they probably would not come today, that they would wait till the state to present their case.
Okay, then we have a motion on the floor. Is any additional discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. And now, Mr. Counselor, we got time to go into, I got a couple things.
Yes, it would be to discuss matters relating to the location of business in the county and to consult with me to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Is there a motion on the floor to go in closed session? So moved. We have a motion on the floor. All raise your hand. We'll be back.